Today we're going to bring a Wi-Fi 6 router. Now this router is going to be capable of reaching anywhere around your home, all right? Maybe under 50 yards, or just make sure you're aware of that. Now this is going to go through many walls because it's Wi-Fi 6. It's capable of reaching through thick walls, and I actually tested out in one of these before, and I actually have one actual bridge in my garage, but today we're going to replace it with this because I need something more powerful within that system. A bridging is okay. You could actually set up a bridge. You could set up multiple systems in here. Let me go over some details in the back. Now, in the back, you have up to 4 connections, but one of them is going to be the main entry that you're going to require from your provider, all right? Your internet provider. You got the WPS button, which you can identify different modules if you have that kind of security. Reset button, and then of course your power. And they give you a category 5 cable, if you guys can see that. I'm not going to show you the details underneath because there's some barcodes and some codes to actually access your router through within your phone. You can actually access through your phone. And we're also going to access the system through the browser to see how it looks and identify some of the potential things that you need to be aware of, and also how to set up certain connections like your VPN and so forth. So, all right, when you're connecting it, make sure you connect it to the actual WAN part of it, not the LAN 1, LAN 2, LAN 3, all right? Make sure you put it on WAN, all right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and identify our network through our phone. There's a couple of things you should be aware. One, you could take a scan the actual barcode that's underneath the actual router itself, or 2, identify the network and log in. So we're going to try to identify this network here, and what you're going to see, you're going to have to go into the system where it says, and we're going to identify it. Right now we identify 2 different networks in here, which is the WR3000, and that's the regular 2.5 hertz, and the other one is 5G. So we're going to do the faster connection. We do have a 5G compatible phone and connect to that one. Now for the first time connecting to the actual wireless, and the default password is simple. It's 8765432 and then 0, and then hit connect, and we're going to connect to the actual router itself. Right, so right now we're connecting directly to it. We're going to transfer any speeds or anything that we need to test out. It's going to come directly to the router, and we're going to say connect at this time, always connect. And then we're going to go ahead and start connecting. Now, the default IP address to get into the actual gateway and the network setup, it was 192.168.100.1. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to open up browser, regular browser here. We could even go this way if you want. So you're going to say 192.168.100.1. And all you got to do is hit go. And there we are. We're connected directly to the app. First of all, we're going to change the language here because the default was Chinese. So you go to the corner here, the little wrench here in the corner, and you go scroll all the way down where you see the A, hit A, and then we're going to change it to English, and then hit OK. Now it's going to change everything to English, all right? So it's already English. So we're going to go back to the main desktop here. And pretty much this is how it looks like with the default settings. All right, on the default settings, you could go in there and change the name of the actual router. You could change the password. The password, as you can see, is the default. The secondary password is the default, but you could have 2 separate passwords for the 2.4 hertz and the 5 hertz. All right, so if you have older connections, older hardware, it's going to require 2.4, especially the older cameras and any camera that's coming out. It uses this kind of frequency. 5 hertz is for everything newer that's coming out, and this is a lot stronger signal, but actually the rate's a little slower on that one. So here it's going to identify pretty much your network, dynamic IP, and so forth. It gives you a summary of the system. So we're going to apply it. Once we apply it, gives you congratulations. Here's our network. This is pretty much where we stand right now. The internet's coming in. User 1, user 2, we have 2.4 and then 5 hertz, but there's nothing to identify in this router yet, but we are going to test the speeds. Right now we have 1 gigabyte connection up and 1 gigabyte connection down. We are going to test it on our phone to make sure we're getting that. But we could always go back and change any kind of settings. Your Ethernet connections, change the IP address, the network connections, the network name, and so forth. If you guys can see, these are all the LAN connections that we currently have on our router, but we don't have anything connection. If you connect something in here, you can always disable it. You can always set up times and so forth. Now let's test out the speeds of the actual router. So let's go ahead and do that. So I just like to test things out in my actual system to make sure that we're connecting the proper speed. So we're going to run a test. And right now I do have 1 gig up, 1 gig down, but you're not gonna get a gig always, all right? So you're gonna get a little bit below, but right now that was just the first test. We're gonna run one more test, and I'm on wireless right now too. If I was connected to a wire, it would be more accurate what I paid for, right? So we're gonna run more tests, and if you guys can see 800 by close to 700, which is really good speeds. And now this is the distance is going to go pretty far. We're able to connect to it. So overall, if you're looking for a simple, inexpensive router and easy to set up, a couple buttons here and there, and you can manage this through any browser, either computer browser or your network browser. It's very simple to use. Now, they do give you a couple options here. You could change your usernames, the passwords, and so forth. My recommendations, make sure you change them not as the default. Make sure you change them as something else, all right? Something that you're going to remember. If you want, you can combine the both networks that the system will automatically identify if it's a 4G, or a 2.4 or 5G, all right? So you can do that, or you could separate the networks. When you separate the network, you're going to see identify 2 different networks with the same information. You could call one, keep one 5G if you want. It's up to you. The regular one, 2.4, that's pretty much everybody. You can make a guest accounts. You could lower the speeds. You could control pretty much anything that's any module that connects into this router, right? Including NAS drives and so forth. You could block things out. Now, this does not have any parental controls or anything like that. You're gonna have to do that at your risk. What I have seen, the difficult thing was just to connect through the actual system to actually identify and change the language. But that's the only thing you have to do. But other than that, you really don't have to go in here if you don't have to. This is just to pretty much to disperse your internet from one location to the other location. So very simple, easy to use. I hope you guys enjoy the video.